Israel's Supreme Court has unanimously rejected a government policy banning representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, from visiting Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons. The court ruled on Wednesday that by preventing the Red Cross from visiting prisoners, the government had contravened Israeli and international law, and therefore the policy must be repealed.
A burglar used a Waymo while stealing yoga clothes in San Francisco this past January, and police have still not caught them. That may sound counterintuitive given the widespread concern that Waymo vehicles and other robotaxis are rolling surveillance machines. But this curious case, reported by the San Francisco Chronicle on Thursday, sheds some new light on how Waymo handles the footage captured by its cars. As Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC 2026, approaches, the excitement is building around what Apple has in store for us this year. From series overhaul to new Apple Intelligence updates, there's a lot to look forward to. The annual Worldwide Developers Conference kicks off Monday at 10 a.m. PT /1 p.m. ET. For those eager to tune in, the event will be streamed live via the Apple's website and the Apple Developer YouTube channel.
Meta announced on Thursday that it's introducing a new AI creator assistant on Facebook that will give creators personalized recommendations based on performance, community, and goals. Creators often have to pass through charts and dashboards, but with the new AI assistant, they can get quick answers to questions like, when should I post? And what are people saying in my site? They can cite their comments. And what are people saying in my comments? Meta's Oversight Board, the independent governing body that makes policy recommendations to the tech company, said Thursday that Meta's account deactivations lack due process. Violations are doled out without clarity, and there's little customer support for appeals. The board, which recently received increased funding to continue its work through 2028, launched the investigation into Meta's account violations policy earlier this year to review a case involving threats of violence against a journalist. The board agreed that Meta was right to permanently disable the account due to the severity of the threats. Security forces killed 4 terrorists in 2 separate intelligence-based operations. By Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the military's media wing said on Thursday the Inter-Services Public Relations said that the 4 terrorists killed during the operations belonged to Fitna al-Khawarij, referring to the term used by the state to designate members of the banned Tehreek-i-Taliban Pakistan, TTP.
Dera Ismail Khan, inquiry reports have identified hundreds of suspicious degrees and questionable financial transactions in a major scandal involving alleged fake degrees, financial irregularities and embezzlement of public funds at Gomul University. It emerged on Thursday. According to official documents and inquiry reports seen by Dawn, the investigation was initiated on the directives of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Minister for Higher Education, Archives and Libraries Mina Khan Afridi as part of efforts to eliminate corruption and ensure transparency in higher education institutions across the province.
US President Donald Trump has hit back at lawmakers who voted to send him a rebuke over the war in Iran, calling them unpatriotic. On Wednesday, the US House of Representatives passed a measure seeking to halt Trump from taking further military action amid growing opposition to the war.
Despite his title, the president of the National Association of Sugar Mill Owners of Cuba has never been to Cuba, nor does he operate any sugar mills there. I grew up here in Miami, Nicolas J. Gutierrez told CNN. My dad instilled this love of Cuba in me. When he died, he was amazed how much it had taken root.
On April 27, a few hundred protesters gathered in front of the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., holding signs with slogans like "How much cancer is acceptable?" and "Monsanto knew." Inside, the court was hearing oral arguments in the case Monsanto company v. Durnell, which could make it harder to sue Monsanto's parent company Bayer over allegations that the nation's most widely used herbicide, glyphosate, causes cancer.
United States President Donald Trump has condemned lawmakers, including members of his Republican Party, for voting in favor of a resolution to rein in his ability to wage war with Iran. The statement on Thursday came a day after the US House of Representatives passed a so-called War Powers Resolution, which aims to limit Trump's war-making authority without further congressional approval. National Health Service NHS staff in Britain should be barred from wearing political badges, including pro-Palestinian badges, on their uniforms. A review into anti-Semitism recommends badges proclaiming support for Palestinians, Israel, British political parties, or even football teams should not be worn at work. The government's advisor on anti-Semitism, John Mann, said in his review on Thursday.
Russian teenager Mira Andreeva reached her first Grand Slam final by beating Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine 6-1, 6-3 in a tense encounter at the French Open. Andreeva converted her first match point when she served for the tennis match on Thursday.
The FIFA World Cup 2026 could be the final act for some of football's finest talents. Although some of this tournament's players will set a men's football record by appearing in their 6th World Cup, age is catching up, and other players have struggled with injuries.
Waymo has announced a deal with an energy storage company called B2U to use retired robotaxi batteries to serve electricity grids in California and Texas. The deal helps answer the question of how Waymo is thinking about the end-of-life treatment of the thousands of robotaxis it has deployed around the United States. Almost all of those are currently Jaguar I-Pace EVs, though the company has recently started deploying a limited number of vans built by Chinese automaker Zeekr.
Digital wallet app Cash App is launching a new gadget on Thursday, seemingly inspired by the social media trend that involves paying for items in the real world with a tap of a homemade magic wand, which hides a tap-and-pay credit card. Now, there's a real wand you can buy to take part. The company's $25 wand is part of its new NFC-powered tag hardware lineup, which Cash App plans to expand to include more form factors in the coming months. The company said that its tags are linked to the Cash App card and would work at outlets compatible with Visa's tap-to-pay platform. Tags are activated by linking the wand hardware, pictured above, to the app, and there's no minimum balance needed for the tag to work. Punjab Safe Cities Authority, PSCA, has launched the Next Gen Safety app, a new digital platform aimed at enhancing the safety and well-being of young people across the province. Introduced under Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz's youth-focused initiatives, the app is designed to provide users with quick access to emergency assistance, professional guidance and a range of safety-related services through a single platform.
Samsung is expected to launch book-style foldable phones this year, likely called the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra. The Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra name has now appeared in the Bluetooth SIG database, giving more weight to recent leaks about Samsung's revised foldable branding. The listing includes 5 model numbers: SC56G, SCG39, SMF976C, SMF976Q, and SMF976Z.
BMW Pakistan has announced a mid-year special promotion, offering significant price reductions on several electric vehicle models. Under the offer, the BMW 4 eDrive 35 is available for $24,999,000, down from $30,283,000, been reduced from $44,834,075 to TER's $36,999,000.
Islamabad. PTI leaders on Thursday arrived at Adiala jail hoping to meet party founder Imran Khan, but were once again denied permission to meet the former Prime Minister. The Islamabad High Court, IHC, has allowed the incarcerated ex-premier to have twice-a-week meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays with his family, lawyers and other associates. Despite the order, Imran has been restricted from meeting visitors for several months. Hungarian prosecutors have dropped charges against Budapest Mayor Gergely Karacsony over his role in organising a pride march last year. The event took place in June 2025. Despite warnings of potential legal repercussions by Hungary's then Prime Minister Viktor Orban, whose government had passed a law banning public events involving the LGBTQ community.
The Lebanese armed group Hezbollah has emphatically rejected the terms of a US-backed ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. In a strongly worded statement, the Iran-backed group's leader Naim Qassem said negotiations had been futile and humiliating for Lebanon and rejected categorically by broad segments of the Lebanese people.
Iran is heading to the World Cup while the country is at war with a host nation, a situation that is unique in the tournament's history. The United States-Israel war on Iran began on February 28, and there has been an uneasy ceasefire in place since April 8. But the uncertainty and occasional flare-up in hostilities means an end to the conflict is far from certain.
Spies working for Chinese intelligence are using job search and recruitment websites, including LinkedIn, to lure Western workers into sharing sensitive information, according to a joint advisory by the FBI, the UK, Security Service MI5, and the governments of Australia, Canada and New Zealand. The advisory says Chinese spies pose as online recruiters and human resources firms who represent fake companies purportedly located outside of China and target people with the aim of obtaining non-public information that might benefit Beijing.
Martinez, California is about as far as you can get from Silicon Valley and still be in the San Francisco Bay Area. Perched on the northeast edge of the bay, the small city is home to Hello Robot, a startup that itself is about as far as one can get from the maximalist promises of its robotics rivals 45 miles south. Hello Robot released the fourth iteration of its home assistance robot, Stretch, last month, and you might stretch to call it a humanoid robot. While Stretch boasts a vaguely human torso and sensor-studded head, its telescoping arm has a pair of pinchers, and it rides around on a heavy, omnidirectional wheeled base.
Corporate expense management platform Ramp on Thursday said it has raised $750 million at a valuation of 44 billion yenes, nearly tripling its valuation within just a year as investors scramble to grab a part of the fast-growing startup. The funding round was led by IconIQ GIC and Ontario Teachers Pension Plan and saw investments from a slate of new backers such as Goldman Sachs Alternatives, DE, Shaw & Co, Morgan Stanley Investment Management, Generation Investment Management, Insight Partners and Broadlight Capital. Several of the company's previous investors also participated.
At least 21 people, including 18 foreign nationals, were killed after a fire broke out at a hotel in New Delhi on Wednesday, according to police and broadcaster CNN News 18. The incident is being described as one of the worst fire tragedies in India's capital since 2022. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Sohail Afridi has directed the Education Department to begin work on a legal framework for the establishment of 72 Chief Minister model schools across the province. Chairing a meeting on the proposed initiative, the Chief Minister said the schools would be developed as modern educational institutions, equipped with trained faculty, updated teaching methods and contemporary facilities.
Oppo and Vivo are reportedly working on dedicated vlogging cameras that could compete with DJI's Osmo Pocket lineup, adding two major smartphone brands to a compact cameras that are becoming more crowded. The latest leak from China suggests that both devices camera with a 1/112-inch type sensor. That's Senson 2-inch type sensor. That sensor size points towards Sony's Litia 9.0 announced in November for mobile imaging applications.
Vivo is expected to add a new Pro Max model to its upcoming X500 series, following a naming approach already used by Apple and recently adopted by Xiaomi. Vivo X500 Pro Max is expected to sit above the regular X500 and X500 Pro in the lineup, though the company has not confirmed the phone yet. A new leak from China suggests that the Vivo X500 Pro Max will feature a 685-inch flat LiPo OLED display supplied by BOE. The panel is tipped to use 2.5 glass, a 2K resolution, and a 144 Hz refresh rate.